Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and lead instructor for CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record live at 2 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday. If you enjoy this video, hit that like button, and if you want to submit to be on the show, take a look at the information in the description.
This is a 1-2 match the stack that after the first rebuy is broken, you can actually match. And so I just had a guy match me after I stacked him in the hand, and he was on the button, and that kind of I thought it was going to come into play here, but it didn't. So we're 300 effective.
Yep.
When it with 7-handed, when it folds to hijack, who raises it to 10, and then the guy, he said, "You're lucky," and he was next to act and folded.
Okay.
And just thought that was confusing. And then it comes over to me in the big blind. I have queen 10 of diamonds.
Okay.
And I make the call.
Okay.
The flop comes 8 of diamonds, ace of diamonds, jack of clubs. And I go ahead and check, and the villain bets $5.
Can you repeat that flop again, just real quick? I'm sorry.
Yeah. 8 of diamonds.
Yep.
Ace of diamonds. Jack of clubs.
Ace of diamonds, jack of clubs. All right. 8 of diamonds, ace of diamonds, jack of clubs. You've called in the big blind with queen 10 of clubs, and your head's up, right? Your head's up against
queen 10 of diamonds.
Queen 10 of diamonds, excuse me, but your head's up, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Hero calls it in the big blind with queen 10 of diamonds. I don't know why I wrote that twice. And the flop comes out ace of diamonds, 8 of diamonds, jack of clubs. So you have a double gut shot and a flush draw, right? Got to do a 9, got to do a king and a flush draw. So huge draw. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So what do you do?
I go ahead and check it over to. Yep. I go ahead and check it over to the preflop raiser, who continues for 5.
So he bets 5 into like really
20.
small. So he bets 5 into like 20. Okay. So
21.
All right. So hijack bets 5. By the way, just as a quick note, if somebody called in between, like let's say the hijack opened for a raise and somebody called in between, you could certainly 3-bet this hand. You can even still sometimes 3-bet it, but I would play it like you, mostly as a call from the hijack. When you start to get somebody raises from the button, you can start to take a lot more of your suited broadways and 3-bet them, but I think the flat call here is fine. Hero checks, hijack bets 5 into 21, and this is very important because this is what I've been talking about a lot recently on some of my training materials, that you cannot allow the guy in position to bet so small that they realize their equity. Meaning that if somebody's going to bet 20%, 25% of the pot, you have to have some raises here. Now, normally, when we talk about sort of having some raises that people might not necessarily find, it would be like top pair. But when an ace is top pair, it's a little bit different because your hand doesn't need protection. So say, for example, like you had king jack, right? And the board came out jack deuce 3. Let's say you had jack 10 of diamonds instead of like, queen 10 of diamonds. The board came out jack deuce 3 and you checked and you bet 5. That's where like you can start to raise top pair for protection, because you can't just let the guy bet and then check to him on the turn to realize his equity. With an ace, it's a little bit different, but you still have to have some raises. So I like your raise. I mean, you have basically like the premier draw. You have a 15-out draw. These are the hands that are derived first as a draw. Queen 10 of diamonds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's pretty, or 9-10 of diamonds. 9-10 of diamonds and queen 10 of diamonds are basically always going to be raised here. I think for sure. So I like it. So you raised 25. Okay.
Yep, villain kind of tanks for a second, and this guy's super capable. So that's why I elected not to 3-bet pre-flop, because if he, and it's probably a pretty easy fold, but it was so if he re-raises me, if he 4-bets me, but it's so playable post-flop, and I knew that if I hit a hand, he would probably pay me off. We just have a dynamic. He's one of the better players in the pool, that if he catches something, a piece of it, he might take it all the way. So I thought my odds were better just playing it as a call versus him. So he calls the 25.
So you think that you should have just called, you mean? You think you should have just called instead of raised?
On the flop? No, I was talking about pre-flop.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, I see. I got you. All right. So you make it 25 and he calls. Yeah, and he calls. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
he flats, and to the turn we get the 8 of clubs.
Okay, so that's interesting because that's like one of the worst cards for you, right, in the deck. So
Yep.
let's think about your, and again, this is, we'll think about the theory and then we'll think about playing small stakes too. And maybe this guy's not on this level, although it's not like crazy hand rating, right? Like, would you say that you would
Right.
3-bet pre-flop with pocket aces, right, and pocket jacks for the most part? Would you re-raise?
100%.
All right, so you don't have pocket aces and pocket jacks, right? So
Nope.
you might have pocket eights, which would be bottom set,
Yep.
right? There's one combo of that because that's now quads, and you might have ace jack. Maybe ace jack suited and maybe ace jack offsuit. So that's like another 9 combos. So it's like you could still probably credibly represent 10 combinations of hands because you have a fair amount of ace jack here that would continue to bet. But I guess also too, if you're closing the action, you might have ace 8 suited, and which would be top and bottom, and jack 8. The issue here is that your combinations of value go way, way down now that the 8 pairs, because there's less sets of 8s, less ace 8, and less jack 8. So usually this is reflected as a check, but at the same time, like if you were full, would you check here? So I'm just saying that you
Right.
got to think about it, because if a guy has an ace here and he's going to call you down, he's probably not going to fold now. So
And I thought for that reason this was more of a bet, because me not having an ace means he's more likely to have one. And the last thing I wanted to happen is he's got ace 10 or ace 9 and him just check back. And then I get, a low club on the river. Then what do I do?
yeah, but if he's got, well, that's not a bad scenario if he checks it back, right? Because you get a free card, right? Like this is like a reverse free card. So that's why sometimes
true.
You can check here
because I'm not made,
right? Because you can check. So say for example he has ace 9, and he's not going to fold if you bet, right? But if you check, he'll check behind because he's like thinks that like you might be boated up and you're playing it cagey. So that's why sometimes checking here is great, because you get a reverse free card. Now, if you checked and he checked it back, and then the river was a brick, I probably wouldn't bluff at it. I would probably just give up, because I don't, unless you're going to do some crazy thing like move all in and try to represent like a full house. But I probably, that's why you sometimes will do this. That's why you sometimes will check when the board pairs. But what did you do here on the turn?
So I fired 30.
Okay.
And the guy who had told me I was lucky rolls his eyes and like makes this scene and like walks out of the room like he had something. So,
okay.
Like again, just weird table dynamics, right?
Yeah.
And so my guy stops for a second. He looks at the guy walking out, and he looks at me. He looks at the guy that just walked out, looks at me, and thinks for a solid 90 seconds, and throws in the call.
Okay. So hijack calls. So now it's raised to 10, call pre-flop, 20, ace jack 8, 2 diamonds, hero has queen 10 of diamonds, check, hijack bets 5, hero to 25, call. Pot now is like 70, hero bets 30 into 70 on the 8 of clubs turn, call, pot's like 130. Okay. Now we go to the river.
Yep. And we've got about $170 behind.
Yep.
And the river is the king of clubs.
Okay, so you make a straight.
Yes.
Right? So it's ace of diamonds, 8 of diamonds, jack of clubs, 8 of clubs, king of clubs. And now the question is, what are you concerned about? So you got $170 behind and the pot's 130. Are you concerned about going for value here because of the board being paired and the backdoor clubs coming in at the end?
Yes. Absolutely.
I mean, I think at your stack depth, the stack depth is irrelevant, right? Because if you're deeper, you can obviously bet fold, but I would just look at this and be like, all right, well, here's why I'm not concerned, okay? So if the opponent had pocket aces or pocket jacks, right, like if they're full here, go back to the flop. If your opponent flops a set of aces or a set of jacks and the pot's $20 on ace jack 8 two-tone on the flop, now we have the luxury of looking back here because it's on our paper, is he betting 5 into 20 on the flop on such a textured board? And if he does that, is he just calling your check raise? And because I usually will say to my CLP subscribers that you'll see one of two things happen when somebody wants to slow play. They're either going to check, right? Or they're going to, or excuse me, not when they're going to slow play. They're going to play like a big hand a number of different ways. They're either going to fast play because they're scared that they're going to get a bad beat, or they're going to check. You don't normally see somebody bet really small and then call just to raise. Now, obviously on the turn, it could be like that. Now that he's full, there's really no reason to raise. But I'm taking full houses out of the equation. I mean, backdoor clubs, okay, yeah, he could have ace-x of clubs. You're probably not even going to get raised if you bet at the end. You might get raised. The pot's 130. It's a shitty situation because you can't really bet fold. Like, if you bet 65 and the guy basically moves all in, the pot's going to be like 350, 100. Actually, I don't know. If you bet 65 and if you bet 65 into 130 and he moves all in, the pot's going to be 360, 100 for you to call. Could you ever fold there? I don't like making big folds at this level. It's just a shitty spot. But I would just bet. I definitely think you have value. I think his most likely hand is an ace. Now, if he's got ace rag here, his kicker isn't going to play, but he's still going to call. And like you said, you have all these shenanigans going on from this other guy that left the table saying that he has something, right?
Right. Well, so my question is, I just don't know that I can get called by worse. Like, if I bet here, is he gonna fold something that he might have bluffed with, like, or value owned himself with ace 10?
Well, he's never gonna bet those hands if you check to him, right? Value owning. This is 1-2 or 1-3. Some people are asking. I didn't put it in the thing.
1-2.
1-2.
1-2 match the stack.
1-2 matches. Right. So value owning
into a 2-5 game quick.
So value owning means you're going to check and you're going to get the guy to bet for value with a hand that's worse than yours. Well, we would never want to do that in this scenario. Ace 10 is not going to bet off here. So we have to bet ourselves. So it's unfortunate if you get jammed on, it's going to be difficult to call, but I wouldn't be concerned. I mean, what if the river was an offsuit king? Would you be less concerned? What are you concerned about? Are you concerned
100%.
about? So you're concerned specifically about the backdoor flush here?
Yeah, I think that's what concerned me the most in the moment. Even though looking back, it's really tough for him to have. I mean, I guess he could have ace queen of clubs or ace 10 of clubs. That's pretty much the only two flushes that I really have to be concerned, or queen 10 of clubs. I mean, I guess queen 10 of clubs might play it this way too, is another hand I thought about in the spot.
Mm-hmm. So what did you end up doing?
So I checked.
Yeah.
And he bet 35.
He bet 35. Okay.
My second question is, should I ever be raising here with queen 10 of diamonds?
I mean, it's hard for me to get myself in the spot because I would never. Right. I wouldn't check, but he bets 35. And I mean, the thing is that he would do you think he would bet with ace king here?
Yeah.
I mean,
when I check it back to him, I think that he might take something with a plan to bet fold.
Yeah, I really expected him to check back a ton here on the river, which is partially why I wouldn't check to him at the end. So when he bets 35, I'm a little bit concerned here that he might have a backdoor flush. Because really, when you take a look, so things have changed. This is interesting at the end, right? When you check and he bets, even though he's betting small, now things have changed. We were looking at it like, okay, what is he going to call with? But now it's like, what is he going to bet with when check to? It's probably ace-king plus. He's probably betting with ace-king. He's betting with flushes, and he's betting with full houses. So let's say he calls with all of those hands. Like, he doesn't fold ace-king. The question then becomes, all right, is there enough ace-king here for us to make this play versus backdoor flushes and full houses? Well, we do this. We look at combinations. There are 3 aces left in the deck and 3 kings left in the deck. This is how we do it because there's 1 ace on board, there's 1 king on board, so there's 9 combos of ace-king. We're just going to make it easy and just look at all the full combos. So there's 9 ace-kings. How many flushes could he have? Well, he could probably have all the ace-x of clubs, which might be like 7 or 8 ace-x of clubs that would be played this way. King 10, King Queen of clubs, Queen 10 of clubs, that's like 11. And then the occasional boat that was slow played off. It appears to me, just doing that math in my head, that maybe this is just a call. If we make the assumption that he's only betting ace king plus here, which I will make, then I would probably just call. That's making the assumption that all the hands that bet will call. Now, we could get into a situation where you just call and he turns over ace queen, ace 10, something like that. If that's the case, then we have to go even to another level and say, are all the non-ace king hands that are betting here going to call a shove? Because if he's betting like ace queen, ace 10, are those hands going to call a check raise all in? I've seen a lot of weird shit happen at live, at low level poker, but this is how I would think through it. So thinking through that math, I would probably just call. But again, I think that the most profitable thing here to do at the river would be to bet himself. Excuse me, hero checks, villain bets 35, and what did you do?
So I flatted.
Okay.
And he turned over 8-7 of hearts.
8-7 of hearts. Okay. So there you go. That's ace king plus, right?
Right. And he would have he would have called. He would have just flatted my 65.
Right.
So I left significant value on the table.
So he would have flat. Oh, actually, you know what? An 8 is not in my calculation that I put in there. I didn't even think about an 8. So I said ace king is 9 combos, right? And then I counted the flushes and the full houses. If you throw in 2 combos of 8x, then it becomes very close. I think it's still probably just a call from you, and you just got a little bit unlucky that he ended up having ace king or an 8 here and not a flush or a full house. But I still would have bet myself. You know what I mean? So that's an interesting one. I appreciate.
Well, because he's only flatting there with the $65 to $100 bet.
Yeah. Appreciate the call. Thank you very much. If you like what you've seen here, please hit the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this call in hand, hit the like button down below. To check out crushlivepoker.com, click on the link in the description. Use the code YTA300 to get the first 30 days for free.